All right, let's just get into it. Let's talk about it. Mike Tomlin. What should the Steelers do? I know a lot of people are talking about his firing, calling for his firing this morning. They were calling for it a lot last night. They've been calling for it a lot recently. But this one feels a little bit different coming off of the back-to-back losses to two-win teams. I will admit. But I'll also say I feel like it's the easiest thing to say right now. Fire Tomlin. And going back to what I just said, coming off of the back-to-back losses, the two-win teams, all of these blowout losses that we've been seeing pop up over the last 2-3 years, not necessarily to bad teams, but to teams in general where we're already out of the game before halftime. It's inexcusable. But then you go back a decade and a half, and we've had other bad losses pop up with Tomlin at the helm. So I get it. It's this snowball effect. It is all built up to this. Only one Super Bowl, and that was back in 2008. Haven't been in serious contention. I guess hindsight's 2020, but haven't been in serious contention since 2017. We have made the playoffs. We have, but we've been one and done. I would argue that 12-4 year, the one that we started off 11-0, I thought we were contenders. I thought so, but team broke down end of the year, unfortunately. Injuries definitely piled up. It's not excuses, but it also is context. Ben's final season, we go 9-7-1. 9-7-1. We tied to the Lions. Got bounced first round of the playoffs. Now, that one, I could see looking back and saying, I don't think that team was really a serious contender. That was more broken of a team than the 12-4 season. Definitely more broken of a team. Last year, first year without Big Ben, we go 9-8, missed the playoffs. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But here's my question to you. Because I think we all want the same thing. We want to get back into serious contention. We want to be Super Bowl champions again. And this is your solution for that, firing Mike Tomlin. A lot of people, at least. A lot of people. But my question is, are you sure? Are you sure that's the right move? Are you sure that's the right solution? Are you sure? Because we can look back at two Steeler great coaches and what they've done throughout their careers and compare them to Mike Tomlin. And there's times, if you want to look at certain stretches of Bill Cowher and Chuck Noll, you'd be saying, we got to fire this dude. Are you kidding me? Get him out of here. It's stale. Got to move on. So Bill Cowher, before winning his Super Bowl in his second to last season in 2005, that is a total of 13 seasons. The man had 3 losing seasons. Tomlin still does not have 1 losing season on his record. Cowher also had no Super Bowls to his name at that point before winning the one in 2005. No Super Bowls, 3 losing seasons. What was it, 4 or 5 AFC championship losses? It also included a 3-year stretch of going 7-9 and 6-10, and then following that going 9-7. So 2 losing seasons, 7-9, 6-10, back to back like that. Could you imagine if Tomlin went 7-9 and 6-10? God forbid we go 9-8 last year and 9-7-1 make the playoffs the year prior. That's the back-to-back seasons we've got with Mike Tomlin. And this 9-8 one was the first year of a rebuild, the first year without our Hall of Fame quarterback in Big Ben. And this season, I will admit, has not gone how I hoped or planned, or any of you guys hoped or planned. I thought it would turn out definitely different. And that's why I think it is a legitimate conversation, not firing Tomlin, but saying his seat's getting a little bit hotter. But going back to Cowher, during that stretch, that 3-year stretch, 7-9, 6-10, then they go 9-7. Also went 6-10 in 2003, the year before they drafted Big Ben. Should we have fired him at any point throughout that? Should we have fired him? End up winning a Super Bowl. Chuck Noll. After those 70s Super Bowls, after the 70s Steeler dynasty, he had 12 seasons in the 80s. Well, I guess it leaked into the 90s then, huh? 12 seasons is impossible in just the 80s. But 12 seasons after those Super Bowl runs, winning the 4 championships. He only had one double-digit win season. Big-time mix of 500, 9-7s, below 500 records, a big mix of that. Should we have fired Chuck Noll? Do you fire Chuck Noll? It's almost the same question that Patriots fans are asking themselves. Do you fire Bill Belichick? Because as bad as we want to talk about the Steelers have it right now and how bad Mike Tomlin is, the Patriots have been worse since moving off their franchise quarterback, their Hall of Fame quarterback, and Tom Brady, than what the Steelers have been. Right now, they're 3-10 this season. If you just want to talk about this season, the Patriots are worse than the Steelers. I know we lost them yesterday. Bad loss. I get it. But they are way more down in the dumps than the Steelers. 3-10. Do you fire Bill Belichick? If you're the Patriots, do you fire Bill Belichick? And who are you getting to replace him? So I'm asking the same thing with Mike Tomlin. All right, we fire him, but who's leading us into the future? What's the smartest play for us to get back into contender status? What's the solution here? Is it just firing Mike Tomlin? Because he's a good coach. Legitimately, he's a good coach. I don't care what you want to say. The record proves that. Because you could stack him up against a lot of the coaches around the league that we consider good coaches, top 5 to 10 coaches, and Tomlin's resume is as good, if not better. I already compared him to some former Steeler coaches. Why don't I compare Tomlin to a contemporary? I want to get your opinion on this. John Harbaugh, AFC North rival coach. You could argue it's been similar for both of these guys, Harbaugh and Tomlin, the last 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, right? Both got a Super Bowl championship early in their careers. And then the last 6, 7 years, not much playoff success. Harbaugh's been one and done a lot. But unlike Tomlin, has a losing season on his record. Actually has 3 seasons in a row from 2015 to 2017. I think they missed the playoffs, but it's 5-11 2015, 8-8 in 2016, 2017, 9-7. Should the Ravens have fired Harbaugh then? Like, firing a dude like Harbaugh, like Tomlin, doesn't make them a bad coach all of a sudden. Like, these guys are still good coaches. Like, this is where we're at right now. This is the reality of the situation. We're worse than what we thought we were heading into the season. We might have to temper the expectations a little bit. But what does it mean going forward? Don't you still want a good coach at the helm? A coach that is proven to get his team in the mix year in and year out? Should the Ravens have fired John Harbaugh in 2017 after that 3-year run, 5-11, 8-8, 9-7? Should they fire him now? They're 9-3. Would they be 9-3 if they didn't have John Harbaugh? These are questions to ask. Now, do changes need to be made? Absolutely. We'll talk about that. We will definitely talk about that. I'll get your guys' opinion. I'll rattle off some ideas that I have. But I think we all want the same thing of getting back to Super Bowl contender status. Is firing Mike Tomlin the way to do that? I don't think so. I don't. Because the dude's still a good coach. I think the dude has still earned some benefit of the doubt heading into the future. I really do. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I want to check in with you guys. What's popping? Pat Mascaro, he said enough. Yes, fire Tomlin. He was carried by Ben. I mean, that's part of it. That's absolutely part of it. He had a Hall of Fame quarterback for all those years. I'm not saying Tomlin took him for granted at all, but I definitely do think Steeler fans took 7 for granted, especially with how they treated him in his last season. That dude threw, what did he throw? 22 or 23 touchdowns, 10 picks in his last season with the worst O-line in the NFL, hands down, with Claypool as one of his top receivers. With Claypool, Juju, and Deontay, and Juju was hurt like for almost all that season. Those were his 3 receivers. Plus, he had the worst O-line in the league, and he had Matt Canada as his offensive coordinator. Oh, and speaking of the O-line, he also had Kendrick Green snapping him balls. That dude threw for 22 touchdowns, 10 picks, led the league in game-winning drives, and yet the city ran him out of town. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Now we're crying about the offense. The year before we hired Matt Canada, or no. It was 2 years before we hired Matt Canada. Finkner's first season. I think we were 4th in total offense. 4th. And then the following season with Finkner, we go 11-0 and everything. But yeah, again, going back to that 2020 season, I just think we got really banged up, man. We got really banged up. Ben himself got hurt. He couldn't move as well. O-line started to decline rapidly. So I think there was some things going on there, but hindsight 2020, looking back, I would have rather kept Finkner going into 2021. Absolutely. But going back to your comment about Tomlin and Ben, yeah, like I said going into this season, this year, one way or another, is going to be a big indictment on Tomlin. Because we did move off Ben the way that we did, and obviously, I don't think it was right. And how we did that, I think we should have left it to Ben to make that decision. If he wanted to go one more year, you give that dude one more year. That dude's a legend. But at some point, we were going to be talking about the Steelers without Big Ben. I think he was going to retire eventually, right? So this is Tomlin's second year without Ben. The first year, you got to cut the man some slack. You got to. And if anything, I think last year, with all the uncertainty of quarterback back and forth between Mitch, rookie Kenny, like to get us to 9-8 to close out the season the way that we did, almost make the playoffs, I think that's a plus for Tomlin as a coach. I think it's a plus. Starting off 2-6 and getting to 9-8 and almost making the playoffs. That's something. Now this year, you have all your ducks in a row. Second year of going with the quarterback you picked in the first round. You got a good draft. You had a good free agency. All this stuff. Like, things are in place. You got a good mix of young talent, veterans. Like, this is your squad. These are your coordinators. No more excuses. Like, this year is going to be a big indictment on Tomlin one way or another. And so far, it's going the wrong way. But do we just fire Tomlin after one season like this? And people will argue it's been more than one season. I get it. Where's the playoff success? But I think the dude's earned at least one more season to call a shot and say, all right, we're going with it this way. Maybe made a mistake bringing in Matt Canada, to his credit, and moved off Matt Canada. Maybe made a mistake with that. Let's get it right. Maybe make some personnel changes, coaching changes. I'm rolling with Pickett. Like, give him one more year. He's earned that. Because going back to what I said at the beginning, I mean, who are you getting that's definitively an upgrade? Who are you getting? Who? We could make the change for the sake of change. And sure, it could go one way or another. There's not certainty with moving on from Tomlin. I think there's more certainty with Tomlin, and in a positive way. Dude always has his team in the mix. Now, we need to hit a better ceiling. There's no doubt. There's no question about it. But if I had to put my money on a dude getting us to that higher ceiling, is it Tomlin or is it going to be some guy that we hire. I'll lean Tomlin. I'm going to lean Tomlin. Almost like John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Going back to that, 2015 to 2017 stretch where 5-11, 8-8, 9-7. What do? They stuck with them. And Ravens have been solid, at least regular season wise, ever since from 2018 to 2023. Yeah, they need more postseason success. They need a higher ceiling as well. Who's going to get them that higher ceiling right now? If you were to ask Ravens fans, I'll even ask you. I mean, we're familiar with the Ravens, right? Who's going to get them? Who has the best chance to get them to a higher ceiling, a deeper playoff run, potentially a Super Bowl? Is it John Harbaugh or some other guy that they hire? I would bet my money on John Harbaugh, just like I'd bet my money on Mike Tomlin here. All right, so yeah, some of you guys are just saying we need someone else. It doesn't matter. Anybody else. It doesn't matter. I mean, it could. It could matter. What if that guy's not as good? Like, it's a 50. Like, here's the thing. I think we're coming at this whole fire Tomlin approach, acting like it's 100% slam dunk that whatever comes next is going to be better. Matt Canada, yes, that was the case. And because this is different. This is the difference between Tomlin and Canada. Canada proved nothing, not only in college for being a competent offensive coordinator, but also in the pros. We were bottoms in the league of offensive statistics for 2.5 years. No matter the quarterback, no matter any of that, dude didn't prove anything. So yes, getting rid of him and getting something new was like, yeah, pretty much anybody else. I think we can get an upgrade. Anybody else. Tomlin's different. Dude always has his team in the mix. Always. Dude has the dude has a Hall of Fame career thus far. Dude has a pretty proven track record as being a leader of football teams. Now, are there changes to be made? Sure, I think we can make changes. But in terms of being the head coach, I still think we want him leading this squad going forward. Nikki Eagle, Tomlin chose Canada. I'm with you. That was bad. That was bad. That was a mistake. People make mistakes. He moved off Canada. Can we give him an offseason then to get things right? Get a new hire in there? Make some personnel changes? Do what he thinks needs to be done to get the Steelers back right on track. Can we give him that? Coming off of his second year without Big Ben. His second year where he has more of a fingerprint on the organization. Can we give the dude that? Just one off season. Just a third season without 7. Can we Tomlin's at least earned that. At least. Josh Widd 16. Did Tomlin waste some of Big Ben's best years to win another Super Bowl? I think we got unlucky. I will say the Jaguars loss was like one where I definitely pointed to Tomlin. Like we came out flat. We came out unprepared. That was inexcusable, that Jaguars loss. But some of the other ones, AB, Bell getting hurt consistently, Fitzgerald Toussaint fumbling in the Broncos divisional game. Like, it's not completely on Tomlin. And some could argue for that Jaguars game we were missing Shazier. But I just thought we lacked, a certain physicality. We lacked details in that Jaguars game. Like, you can't let a Blake Bortles offense go off for 45 against you. Like, you just can't. You can't. Like, that was the one to me where I'm like, man. Because Ben threw for, 5 touchdowns in that game, 400-something yards. Like, bro. Marvin's bringing up Ben had some turnovers. I know at the beginning of the game, but when the offense is getting you back in the game, lighten it up. Like, defense got to make some stops. You really got to make some stops. Celtic 33 J says, dude inherited his Super Bowl team. That's always a popular opinion about Tomlin. He had Cowers teams. A lot of those players were Cowers players. Tomlin had to have done something right, though. Dude had to have done something good for us to win that 2008 Super Bowl. That was the best defense I've seen in my lifetime. Tomlin being a defensive-minded head coach, he had to have something to do with it. He had to have done something good. And then to get back to the Super Bowl a couple years later, like, you don't have that type of success and are just a terrible coach and are getting carried completely by the players. We had good teams, but I think that's where we're at too. We might need to look at some personnel changes on this squad. And Minka Fitzpatrick brought this up. This is the one quote I saved from the player interviews from yesterday. And it's definitely something to think about. Like, is it all on Tomlin? Like, is DeMonte Casey overrunning that interception on Tomlin? Is it? Is Mitch Trubisky throwing that terrible pick early in the game? Is that on Tomlin? Or is that on... hold on. This is botched up. I think we can get through this. Hold on. Give me a sec. Wait. Give me 1 sec on this. I think I can fix this. No. Never mind. Okay. I'm going to take a guess on that first line. Wait, no, I have it. Do I have it pulled up here? I want to get this right. I want to read this first sentence right. Okay. He says, in order to see the fruit, you've got to toil for it. I think too many people don't want to toil for it. They just want to walk out here, think that they're going to make plays, and think that they're going to perform at a high level. I think we need to have more people who want to work for it, not expect to be handed to them. This is the NFL. Nothing's handed to you. You got to earn everything. I think that dudes just think that because we're wearing the black and gold, they're going to win games. And I think we need to check that mentality and make people realize that they got to earn that mentality. They got to earn every single blade of grass, every single splash play, and every single rep that they get out there. They got to earn it. Agreed. But this goes back to my thought of how much is it on Tomlin? At least within these games that we're witnessing right now. Now, Tomlin is the head guy. He did pick these players. He is allowing these players to play. So there's that. But again, if we're not right in personnel, and we're starting to realize that in a way, can you give Tomlin at least one offseason here coming up to get it right? Can we give the dude one more in his second year without Ben going into his third year? Can we at least give the dude that? I think he's earned that to make things right. Now, the personnel specifically Mink is talking about here, who's your guy's best guess? Because I don't really think the defense, like, is the defense just showing up and thinking that they're going to go out there and win without putting in the work? I don't think that. I don't feel that way when I watch the Steelers defense. Now, the offense, sure, but I can't really pinpoint it to one player on offense. I can't. Who doesn't want to be there? Who just looks like if they show up, that'll be enough? Honestly, at times it's Pickens. At times it's Pickens. At times, like last week, it's Deontay. Somewhat like the O-line, I guess maybe the O-line, maybe. But I don't really know what sweeping personnel changes we can be making. People are going to bring up the quarterback, but Tomlin picked Pickett. I think Tomlin really believes in Pickett. And in my opinion, rightfully so. To a lot of your guys' opinion, not rightfully so. But he has shown enough flashes that you can win games with this guy. He could be the future for the team. Problem is he's just been getting hurt and hasn't been consistent enough, particularly this year. That's the problem. So I know that's probably a big personnel change that people want to bring up would be the quarterback. I think you give Pickett another year too. Well, leave it to Tomlin. Leave it to Tomlin. If he wants to roll with Pickett, roll with Pickett. And I'd say too, let's get into some of the changes I make. Actually, drop your changes in the chat too. What changes would you make? What are your solutions? If it's fire Tomlin, who are you bringing in? If it's not fire Tomlin, who's the coordinator? What are you doing personnel-wise? What are you doing at quarterback? What are you doing at other positions? How are you shaking this up? What are your solutions? What are your changes? Because to me, if I'm Tomlin, I'm just leaning into everything at this point. One, you still got it. Like, we are getting a little bit ahead of ourselves with this. Let's see how the season plays out. We still are 7-6. By the end of the week, we might be the 7th seed. We might be the 6th seed. Let's see how the rest of the season plays out. Who knows when Kenny gets back? Who knows how Mitch looks next week? Do we start Mason? Let's let the season play out. But if I'm Tomlin, I lean into it, man. I lean into it. You got the fans booing. You got the fans pretty much being upset with anything you do at this point. You lean into it. You say, I picked this guy, Kenny Pickett, in the first round in 2022. I believe in this guy. I'm sticking with him. I've seen enough from him. He mentioned in his press conference, a few weeks ago, Kenny's got that football justice that's going to come back around him because of the type of work that he puts in, how much he loves the game, and what he's got in him. So I do think Pickett is still Tomlin's guy. But I lean into it. And then I go Mark Whipple for OC. I bring in Kenny's guy for OC. I say if you're going to go down, you go down swinging. You go all in. That's the guy I would assume Kenny's most comfortable with. That's the guy who does have NFL experience. He is connected to the Steelers, was an NFL coach here in the past. I can't remember exactly what he did. I think he was a QB coach back in Ben's day. But he has gone on to have actual success in the college ranks, unlike Canada. He was Kenny's coordinator at Pitt whenever Kenny went off for 40-plus touchdowns, was in the Heisman race. And he teaches a pro-style offense. It's not going to be gimmicky college stuff. Dude actually does a pro-style offense. So that's what I would do. If I'm Tomlin right now, we are getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but let's just say the season ended today. We're the 8th seed. We missed the playoffs. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going all in. I'm leaning into it. And then you're praying that Kenny can stay healthy and prove you right. That's what you're praying for. Now, other changes, it sucks, man, because we really had a good defense. We need some overhauls on offense. There's no doubt. But we had a really solid defense. I still think we have a solid defense. But how we structured this thing with Quan Alexander, Cole Holcomb, inside linebacker, we draft JPJ. Pat B's been picking up his play. Minka, Casey, the D-line, TJ Highsmith. Like, we got a solid unit. We have solid personnel on defense, I feel like. Landon Roberts. But what about the offense? I already said I'm sticking with Pickett. I'm sticking with Pickett. I mean, I don't know. I think you need to overhaul the O-line. I think you need some dogs in there. You got to spend an early pick on a center. Bring in a highly touted free agent. Maybe you do the highly touted free agent at center, and maybe you draft early left tackle. Maybe you go back-to-back left tackle center in the draft. And then you have some discussions about running back, I think. What do you want to do? Do you want to add a third guy? Do you want to move off of Najee? I think you add a third guy. I think you add a third guy into the mix. A legitimate third guy that can push Najee. I would say push Warren. I don't think the dude needs pushed. He needs more snaps. He needs more carries is what he needs. I think that's what I would do. Right now, I think you really focus on that O-line. I think defense could be good. Maybe we sign a cornerback free agent, that dude from the Bears, Jalen Johnson, pair him with JPJ. Run it back with Cole Holcomb. Draft an inside linebacker in the third. Mark Whipple, OC. I'm fine with Terrell Austin as the DC still. Tomlin, Austin. Bring in Mark Whipple. And then we roll with who we got. See what the temperature's like on Deontay and Pickens. Because Pickens, man, I think Deontay wants to be here. I do. I think it's fair to question that with Pickens, some of the social media stuff that's popped up this year, some of his body language. We'll see. See what the temperature's like on him, man. Because to Tomlin's point, we want volunteers, not hostages. I don't want to move off of Pickens. Let me be very, very clear. I want George Pickens here. But at the same time, we need dudes that want to be here. All right, I need to read some of your guys' solutions. I'll react to them, and then I'll jump off out of here. M Pick says we need to use Najee as a receiving back. Yeah, we haven't done that as much. Definitely haven't done that as much. Kedger 43 says absolutely not Mark Whipple. Absolutely not. Come on, bro. Hold on. One of you guys are great in the chat right now. A lot of comments, a lot of engagement. Appreciate that. It's just like jumping on me. I'm missing some of these. Like there's ones I want to read, but then it jumps and I can't read it anymore. Kedger 43 says Daniels and Seumalo have been good for us this year. Get a monster at center. Yeah, I think we're good with Broderick Jones. We can roll it back with Daniels and Seumalo. Obviously, they got the contracts. And then you bring in a dude to compete with more, whether that's Broderick Jones or the guy that you bring in. I don't know if you bring a specific guy for right tackle, left tackle in the first or second round, but definitely center at this point. Mason Cole, this just hasn't been it this year with him. Not enough consistent play, just straight up blocking overall, passing, running game, but also these snaps. I don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on. Was hoping that was just a one-game thing against the Cardinals, but popped up again yesterday, like 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times. Low snaps to Mitch. Kedger 43, Pickens has every right to be upset. Look at the routes they got him running. Which is weird because thought we got him involved pretty good in that Cincy game. Thought we got him involved pretty good in the Cardinals game. And then it just disappears yesterday. Like, we switch up the quarterback and forget to get the ball to arguably our best receiver to make it a point to get it to him. Get it to the playmakers. Like, there was too many times, and I mentioned it yesterday, we had some old school formations out there. Multiple tight ends. We had our 4th and 5th and 6th best receivers out there. Just weird, man. And this is why I was upset that we lost Pickett, because we couldn't build off that momentum of a non-Canada play calling offense with our QB1. We just aren't able to build off that with Pickett being hurt. I think I lost you guys for a second. I think I lost you. Maybe that's a sign. I gotta hop off. Malik G 48 says Dan Moore, Chooks, and Mason Cole shouldn't be on our team next year. Andrew Paro, and this goes back to the Minka comment. Pickens wasn't targeted much because he's jogging routes, complaining, knowing he won't get a good ball. Yeah, I guess we'd have to watch the tape more, but just seeing some of his body language out there, it's not good. It's not good. Can't lie to you there. Can't lie to you. Josh Wood 16 says trade for Fields. Lord Dre 10, one of his calls, he says bring in Munchak. Munchak comes in, fixes everything next year. I'd be good with that. That's a good call too. Bring in Whipple, bring in Munchak. I also get it from a standpoint for the next OC. If you just want to go completely off the radar, nothing to do with the Steelers, no connection to the Steelers, I get that too. Bring in a guy almost like Todd Haley and just give him the offense. Let him run things. Tomlin, DC, you guys got the defense. And Tomlin, you got your normal head coaching duties. But just give a dude the offense. Give one of these young QB gurus, whatever. Get a guy off the Shanahan branch, the McVay branch, whatever it is. Bring in one of those guys. I understand that. I completely do. And I'd be fine with that. If it's not Whipple, I say you go that approach. Elgood 92 says, so Tomlin's letting the OC and coaches do their job, and it's not a good job, but it's not Tomlin's fault at all. Listen, man, if the players don't do some stupid stuff yesterday, I think we have a much better chance of winning and potentially win the game. If Mitch doesn't throw that pick and give the Patriots an easy 7 points, if KZ doesn't overrun that balloon ball like from Bailey Zappi that turned into the Hunter Henry touchdown, that's 14 points right there, man. That's 14 points. I truly believe when the game was over, I felt like the Patriots were who we thought they were going into the game. Like, they weren't that good. We shut them out in the second half. It's just we did some stupid stuff in the first. Is that on Tomlin? Like, in the moment, is that on Tomlin? Is Tomlin physically the one throwing the football at quarterback? Is Tomlin the one playing safety? That's the tough part. I think we were set up to win the game, really. Outside of that first drive, the first drive was bad. Juju made a nice catch, though. We had good coverage on Juju. He made a nice catch that flipped the field, got him, down into the high red zone. Made a play or two. Michael Walker looking out of sorts out there. Now, that's a Tomlin thing. Do you keep Michael Walker out there? But then he eventually got the pick later in the game. But also, we are playing a little bit left-handed right now with some of these injuries at inside linebacker. I get why teams are attacking the middle. We did make adjustments in the second half, though. So is that a knock at Tomlin, or is that a positive for Tomlin? I think there's just a lot going on right now. But at least, in my opinion, Tomlin deserves another year to get this thing right. And again, we are getting a little too far ahead of ourselves, and that's what can happen after games like yesterday, after stretches we've endured over the last, 3 or 4 weeks. I get that, but we still have 4 games left in the season, and we're at 7-6. Let's see how the season plays out first. That's all, because this is rock bottom. I thought it was against the Cardinals, but this is rock bottom. So, man, all the players can do is just get to work, man. That's it. Get to work. Humbled. And a lot of times when you hit rock bottom, things do turn around. Because, honestly, that's the only way you can go. It's literally the only way you can go. You just stay humble, man. Stay locked in. I don't even want to hear any of these cliches anymore, because that's all it is. Let's just be under the radar. I don't even want to hear from the players of execution over and over again. We got to do this. We got to lock in, folks. I don't want to hear it, but that is what is needed. I'll just see it next Saturday against the Colts, because that's the only thing that really does matter, is the product you put out on the field. But it should be only up from here. I think so. I think we got to be humbled. We got to be. If we weren't humbled in the Cardinals game, we absolutely have to be humbled now. M-Pick says about to end 7-10. No, at least 9-8. At least 9-8, right? It's written. It is written. Right, I'm out of here. Big shout out to you guys, man. Big shout out to you guys making the conversation fun, stopping through. But yeah, stay chilling. I'll see you guys, I think, middle of next week, because we're off for the weekend now. No Steeler football on Sunday. So yeah, I think middle of next week I'll be back. I think Wednesday. So see you guys then. Peace out.